Hello and welcome to the Science Options evening video. We're going to be talking through the differences between triple science, or also known as separate sciences, and the combined science route. I'm Mrs. Redmond, I'm Head of Biology. Everybody starts their science GCSEs in Year 9 at Sharnbrook, and everybody will study biology, chemistry and physics. Now, whether you do that in the combined science route or the separate science route is something that we're going to talk about. The Director of Science is Mrs. Watt, so if you have any specific science-based questions, she's the person to email, or any of the heads of subject can help you with particular issues. So the majority of students will do combined science. That's a 2 GCSE award, and the specification that we study is the AQA GCSE Combined Science Trilogy option. Now, if you're choosing to do separate sciences, you will get a separate GCSE in biology and chemistry and physics. Everyone will have the same core science lessons on their timetable, and the separate science students will have an additional few lessons a fortnight. So the differences between separate science and combined science are as follows. So we all study biology, chemistry and physics. In combined science, you'll study those in a rota. So it might be in the autumn term, you do biology with one teacher, and then they'll do chemistry in the next term and physics in the next term. And both of your teachers will be swapping between different topics in the 3 subjects. So in separate sciences, you will have a biology teacher, a chemistry teacher and a physics teacher. So you have timetabled biology lessons, timetabled chemistry lessons, timetabled physics lessons, and you work your way through the GCSEs on that route. Separate science students have 4 more science lessons per fortnight. So everyone has usually 1 science lesson every day from Year 9 to Year 11. Separate science students have an extra 4. Now, the difference in teaching is that in combined science, everybody has specialist science teachers. So we're all fully experienced in delivering the science GCSEs. In the separate sciences, you tend to have slightly more experienced and specialist science teachers. So you will have a biology specialist for biology, a physics specialist for physics, and a chemistry specialist for chemistry. So that means we've got lots more in our heads that we can discuss and talk about with you. You get 3 GCSEs for separate sciences compared to your 2 GCSEs. So in combined science, you come out with 1 grade that has 2 numbers. So for example, the very top grade is a 9-9. The next grade down is a 9-8. And the next grade down from that is an 8-8. So you get 1 set of grades, which is your grade that you get for all 3 sciences combined. In separate sciences, you get the grade that you earn in each subject. So they could all be the same. They might be different depending on how you've performed in those exams at the end of Year 11. Everybody, whether you do separate or combined, has 6 exams in the summer of Year 11. And the only difference is the separate scientists have half an hour extra per paper. So it's not really very much difference in terms of exam load. Everyone's science GCSEs are 100% exam at the end of Year 11. There is no coursework component. We do practicals as part of the GCSE sciences. However, they're assessed within the exam themselves. So everybody does the combined science GCSE content. Triple scientists or separate scientists have top-up modules or extra lessons, and it tends to be the things that are more interesting. There are plenty of tricky concepts in combined science, so it's not true that the biology, chemistry and physics separate GCSEs are necessarily harder. They just have extra information. So for example, in biology, we get to have a look at the brain and see how that works. We get to look at the eye and do an eyeball dissection. We tend to look at things like cloning. In chemistry, that you tend to do some of the more, as a non-chemistry specialist, what I think of as the smellier practicals. And in physics, you do space physics. So if you did combined science, you wouldn't look at space at all. So that's the difference between the triple and the combined sciences. And if you look at the PowerPoint, you can see all the additional topics that we do across the 3 different GCSEs. So the people that choose separate sciences tend to be the people that are slightly more able. You tend to be people who are interested in science, liking science, enjoying finding out how things works. It might be that you're considering taking science A-levels. You can do science A-levels and science degrees with a combined science GCSE, but it is definitely true that if you have done separate sciences, you walk into your science A-level knowing more about that topic. So you will have a greater breadth of knowledge in the sciences if you've done the separate sciences. Triple science classes tend to be quite motivated. They tend to be quite showing an enjoyment of science. And the benefits for doing separate science over combined science is that you actually have more time to go through things. So you have 4.6 hours rather than 4 hours compared to the combined science students. So you actually get slightly more time, which means we get more chance to explore things, to do enrichment activities, to do different practicals, to talk about areas of science that might be interesting you. If there's a new development or a new piece of research that's come out, we might have a good old discussion about that and build that into the curriculum. So it just allows us more flexibility with how we teach you the science GCSEs. Okay, so are you a suitable candidate for separate science GCSEs? Only higher tier students do separate sciences. So if you know that you're on a foundation tier route, so that's if you're at the lower end of the MASWI scale, that's the grading scale that we've used in Key Stage 3, then separate sciences is not for you. We are looking for students who are achieving or hoping to achieve. So if your target grade is A or M on the scale, so if you're targeted for that or if you are currently achieving that, then you can definitely manage the separate science GCSE. Once you've put your options requests in terms of, like with other departments, we'll have a look who has asked to do triple science. And if there is somebody that we know would really struggle, we will recommend that you choose something different. Now, if you're in top set at the moment, the vast majority of you will have had those conversations at the parents' evening, so you know already whether we think that you're a suitable separate science candidate. But if you're in any doubt, please ask your class teacher or email Mrs. Watt or myself. We're the two top set teachers currently in Year 8. If you really love science, but you're not currently on an A and an M, have a chat with your teacher, have a chat with Mrs. Watt, and see if we think that that will be a suitable course for you, because sometimes being really interested and really motivated to do something is a real bonus. And lastly, just to say that the grades that separate scientists at Sharnbrook achieve are far higher than separate scientists nationally. So if you look, we're almost 15-20% above in most cases. So, and then the difference between triple science students and combined science students is also quite marked, because obviously combined science will have the entire ability range, whereas the triple science will have those at the top end. But the grades that you get at the end of your triple science tend to be better if you study at Sharnbrook than if you're studying at other national schools. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, please do email any of the people on the first slide and we will happily get back to you. Thank you very much.